Howdy, gang. Welcome back to Pyre. You're streaming mostly on time. Maybe an hour later than usual, but you know, it has only been a week, so hopefully I don't lose the next lib boy. No more waiting. Speeding up that much. Your agents, hold on. If you've got an army of men who can disassemble a camp, why don't they help me out? Train my boys, please. I need it. Oh boy. What's going on here? Rare fish, that means money. Could be a trinket. I think I'm gonna go with money. No, fishing's all about patience. Son of a bitch. We're like not even 5 minutes in and I've already lost. Oh, we're playing the Pyre Hearts. Thank God. That'll be an easy start. Is this man about to intercept our match? Ale, big man. What a jerk. Maybe just sitting there to spook us.
Mo, masamtafies.
Man, what? Did I get a fish? Huh? Doesn't make sense, but alright. I kinda want this. Damn it.
You were lactose, Poppy.
Oh, fuck. I think Single Tizo likes me. Everyone else, though. I guess I'm just the reader, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not wrong, but I don't need to take that from him. On worth. The fallen empire of Saur was ruled according to an ancient bloodline thought to be infallible. Our society shall instead be by those who earn the privilege. We, the eight, we cannot bear the burden of determining your worth. It shall be determined by your peers and by you yourself. We shall provide a framing through the rites to put you to the test against yourselves, against your kin, against your adversaries. The downside cannot let us all go free. Thus, freedom to the worthy. As the worthy, your true calling then begins as you return to society, which belongs to learn the wisdom you gain along your path. Worthy shall lead. I guess traveling all over this terrible, terrible place could be viewed as a sort of pilgrimage. like another new boy. Outer mantle. After your adversaries grasp the board to work, they'll slowly shrink rather than vanish. Interesting. Oh, you know how it goes.
Lord Gandalf. Dullness the locket.
I don't know what I'm getting into, but you know,
All of the
whatever.
Titan stars. Sheer madness. The infamous Reader returns, along with his remaining retinue of miscreants. Too bad you failed to rid yourself of yet another one last time. Your adversaries, the Pyre Hearts. As with you, they must be very desperate for their freedom. They shall not make it any easier from here.
Right, these are big slippery boys, so I want to have people with big auras. Yeah, Dariel would be one. That bonus to my Pyre is very welcome. Wolfred, of course.
Wolfred.
Infinite. Cool. And then, I guess I do need a dunker, and I think that should be Pantha.
Pantha. Now begin. A swift recovery.
I just realized I never set up my thingy. Right, not a problem.
The Night Wings are the first to strike.
Right, I keep forgetting I can't cast.
A bit of a blunder.
Oh no. Okay, we got it. Oh shoot. Oh. Wow, what a jerk.
All for naught.
Gotta be honest, I don't remember how to sprint.
Be gone, Joe Dariel.
Oh. Oh. Hey!
Oh. To each his own.
Damn it. R. Okay. I don't know why that's the only button I didn't press this whole damn time.
oracle.
Time, I get stunned so long. Oh. Oh, no. Oh. I don't even know where the ball is. There it is.
The orb is up.
Ah. I wish I remembered what the effect was so I could be less annoyed by the fact that she can't cast.
That is how you snuff a flame.
Alright, we're going to slowly advance.
How fortuitous.
They're planning in.
Contempt. The orb flies true.
Oh, you just waiting for a dunker to come back. No big deal.
Positively brutish.
Damn it, I want to set up a freaking thing, that's all.
You have it?
Oh! How did it take me that long to notice? My aura doesn't disappear when I have the orb. It's pretty useful, it just doesn't work well against these guys because they do aura burst as their attack.
Tis taken.
Kind of a...
Oh, you poor nightwings. The orb's engulfed.
Ah!
The orb's unclaimed again.
What?
Orb slips from your clutches.
Aha!
Empire's flames grow weak.
You know, I think we have a solid shot of winning this, even if we only have to wait for Bamatha to come back every time. Alright, get in there. Get in there. Dunk it, baby!
Now, end the
Surprised that worked.
Begone, Bolfred. And it is done.
You know how the crowd started getting antsy when I got close to the goal? That was cool.
Perhaps they do.
Ah, hell yeah, I got 2 achievements.
The rite is done.
Bad ending or not, I'm proud of myself.
Bask Bask now in the wisdom of the scribes.
Wow.
Even a traitor harp like Panatha can learn something.
Alright, what we got? Rapid succession for less stamina. You saw how often I just used it. That's pretty good. Instantly switches for nearest ally. Plus 8 quickness. Hell yes. Plus 4 quickness presence and opening your better all around. Yeah, maybe. Kind of frustrating. I only get to pick one of these. I kind of really want that one, but I also kind of really want this one. I think maybe just not getting banished is better, so I'm gonna get that. And that also means I just locked myself into getting the big speed boost.
My old friend.
And what we got? Good. Also good. Okay.
Until the next Rite. If there even is to be another one.
Ow.
Ligeratus, tamta.
Oh, right. I completely forgot about this mechanic. Oh. Does that mean that he doesn't want to do the right, or is he sick? Yeah, he's sick. So, with that in mind, it means maybe there are less rights left than I thought, because you have to have a full team of 3 along with whoever got sick on the way to the right. We have a good track record with them. Then again, they're fast, so since all my big auras are gone, I might not do well against them. Manly, maybe. An alright team to go against. Let's pick them. I don't feel like I'm at any kind of disadvantage against them at the moment. Wow, what the hell? Oh my god, more stuff. On all the Titans? Is maybe because I beat matches with their stars active?
Terena lettura.
Ore scuccia peluge.
Odare. Ligaratus.
Humanos.
No.
Magnito Mirias.
Ligaratus.
Mala gratia, Magaratus.
Right, let's ship it. Seems so wrong for a worm to go against a bird in battle. Because in real nature, the worms are obviously just a freaking worthless food source. There has to be some kind of natural instinct that tells him to shit his pants when he sees a harp coming after him, right? Sungrees, and known as the sacred Mount Oliadel, the highest peak within the lowest land, then know that it is no mere mountain, but the fractured bonework of the world titan himself, the archbeast Sungrees. Really? Okay. They built a fucking church on this man's bones. That's metal. This one's bog-dwelling companion, Militha, is too mild in her account of our ascent. It was not a pleasant mountain hike, but a pitched battle spanning 17 full moons. Jesus Christ. Finally, the 8 of us who climbed atop the brow of old Sungrees, who managed her strength and struck the mortal blow, such that the archbeast shattered finally to pieces. It is no mere myth that from the archbeast's eye a shimmer pool emerged. The soul memes for freedom from our land. Is the shimmer pool made of his tears? I went all Shadow of Colossus on him. Climbed up, stabbed him in the eye. Silence there. How very crafty your muzzled friend Yomer. The, one quite so diminutive as he did manage to prevail against the hive titan called the Balanthius. Despoiler of the valley, Balanthius did fall at last into a deadly trap, which doubtless he deserved. Crushed under the weight of 16,000 tons of beetle dung he was, though how our Yomer gathered all this strength, all this stuff only to send it crashing down, he has refused to say. From the hive titan flowed a fresh, rejuvenating spring, which gladdens up the valley's desolation quite a bit. As for Yomer, why, he said his legendary jaw blade set the most impressive mark of valor. Everyone aspires. Impressive work, Yomer. You know, if all those titans, like, killing them made the downside a little more hospitable. Just saying, I'd love to see it. Make the RPG happen, guys, please. want it. Dullness the Locket. Doubtless you've seen Black Basin, whose seething fissures yet spew noxious flames and vapor at the stars. Then you have seen the remnants of the Wrath of Dullness, also called the Locket, for within himself he held the fires and the rage which shaped our very land. The Ash Titan, he did threaten to devour us as we delved deeper into the reaches of the downside, till at last we outsmarted him, quenched his flames we did, when we lured an inauspicious storm his way. And so, whilst the Ash Titan has fled, sobbing coward, we see handiwork of his remains. The blackened crags forever shall bespeak the danger which he posed. That could be like the mechanic for his boss fight, right? You have to bring someone who has a storm magic or whatever, and to exploit his weakness, get rid of his armor or whatever, or enable melee attacks. Cool stuff. I swear to God, it needs to happen. Flimless Erzek. This is the last one I'm reading for now. We're gonna do an Rite, I promise. If this one is to be honest, he may nary expected his high-minded friend Luz Scolarian ever to raise his arms, and yet 'twas Scolarian alone who toppled the Root Titan, which befouled the serenity of Waking Wood. Scolarian, he brought to bear the might of his entire family of willful saps, contained within his ancient gnawed staff. Soon did the poisoned soil of Flimless Erzek begin to dissipate. The rude Titan cried out a deafening last cry, and withered to a speck. Erzek yet lives, a husk, a single foul seed, still rotting where once something mighty stood. Scolarian in his mercy deigned that the surrounding woods ought to grow bold and strong by casting off the influence of Erzek, not by forgetting him. Cool. Un momento, I'm gonna go grab more water. We're back. Alright, Rite time. Must have just been the area. Weather was getting really shitty and I thought it was more bad omens. Lightning and heavy wind and all. In reality, this is the first time it stopped raining or snowing or whatever in a while. That's a good sign, right? Billman will get a buff. Falcon Ron passing through a special offer. Maybe he'll give me a discount? I don't know. I think we're gonna go with Gilman. repair the wagon wheel. What happened? I just imagine him using his tail as a screwdriver. Son of a bitch! Guess we're not using Gilman. Got the same face. Oh. Chill.
Liremiliat mesugarium. Rocky senti nice. Turpitu miliat. Somilia Paragunta. Salum tia nelotamita.
Right, so if I read that right, sounds like Deluge ran off, or at least ordered a retreat, and Gilman didn't like that, so he went to capture him, but he didn't do that. So it looked like he just retreated along with everyone else, and he's like, man, I'm a fucking coward. And he got himself exiled. Jeez, Gilman, why you do that to yourself?
You are nothing, reader. Nothing but a mindless cripple. Your
What the fuck?
every action is a stain upon the legacy of the 8 scribes. The Rites have been a long-held secret to keep out those such as you.
I didn't even do anything wrong, though. Like, I'm not even really a part of this plan, man. I'm just reading. You learn Wendell is now re-enlisted as the constable of the highest status. Under his supervision, the Commonwealth keeps its shining streets free of unrest. Wendell's past transgressions have since all been forgiven. He integrated quickly with the veiled leaders of the Commonwealth. As for the accusers, having relied on Wendell's fierce leadership, they failed to agree on how to best proceed after his liberation. They'll not face him again anytime soon. Thank the messenger in for this information and offer it some light refreshment. Creature declines as politely as could be expected. Carries off again. Right, it didn't occur to me at the time that, or aside from just corrupting the law, it's gonna directly hinder the plan and that he'll shut down protests and stuff.
Mishtatimcha.
I'll take that.
Morisampa sini talafais.
Downside is... Damn. Alright, the music just started jamming out of nowhere. Who do I want to give speed to? Go a May. Alright, let's do this again. Hmm?
Interia si llama Rathanas?
The Star Ball. Alright, so I am gonna use May. And part of me wants to turn some of these off so that we can get more of her story done. But, you know, also part of me is feeling himself and he thinks that we can win again anyways. So I think we're going to keep them all on and hope for the best.
Rita, I am still very cross with you, you know. To think I saw in you a worthy heir. Not
what did
just
I
to
do?
the legacy of the Night Wings, but to the future of the Commonwealth. That traitor Volfred. Only a fool would be seduced by his audacious promises and his dangerous ideas. That, dear reader, would make you a fool. I have no choice but to explain it thus, so even you could understand. Now for this blasted Rite. Some of us still have our duties to uphold.
Ah, Lutista. Gratile amatas. Ah, Lutista.
Pyre, father.
Ah. Mara Taliosenta.
Primerus,
Ah,
sus travadeos.
Discara tristiabase.
Who shall besmirch the Nightwing's name? May.
¿Cuál es das?
Iso has nothing to gain. Go with Bertrude.
Bertrude.
And,
Rukey. Is cast.
on his helmet.
Arresta, Zombili.
Val, father.
Pensate, Zombili.
Begin. Now go.
What? So I can triple jump, correct? Oh shit. I was literally in the middle of jumping. What? Oh my god. Those aggressive tosses.
Glorious. A flame is stricken.
Flame is dunked.
Didn't see it.
Oh, bullshit.
Your exiles all are banished, I'm afraid. Not quite.
Son of a bitch.
A show of glory for old Dolphin's boy.
I didn't even see what happened.
Fili haloshiase? Irina Teliosenta?
Mira stagetas?
Simalumia Kelanias?
Tarunda lorigas.
The fate. They claim to honor this tradition, and yet their claims seldom ring true. Poor exile. Oh,
Oh no. Oh!
trickery.
That's a big blast.
Red-handed.
Oh my god, he was waiting for that.
The orb was cast into your pyre. Yes.
Why is he being so slippery?
The orb.
Yo.
Quite foul for the Nightwings. And it is done.
That was a long ass throw, alright? I'll give it to him.
Their hapless adversary stood no chance.
Absolutely, we were crushed. And you know, I knew that we were going to be crushed.
Proceedings.
Esquia postaleta?
So primeros. Cholarescu noxalas.
Aremta, father.
Ita pulameta?
Cruce tarikta.
Vila stati.
Huh?
Gratis lagaram.
Varesta som fili.
Ah!
Si tempri vilia.
There is much to learn from this experience.
Maybe he just said yes and I won.
I eagerly await our next
hair in my
such
mouth.
outing.
Manny. We got this. I say that every time, but we got this.
Penamtas ass. Pensate lo rigas.
Forden a la fricta? Si malumen a calamias. Priya tamashe. Ah, Lutista.
Well, at least she got a stat boost out of it. He said bye to me. Can you believe that? We're friends. Wow. He said farewell, which means farewell. That's a good thing, right? Maybe. Coming from him. Downside diseases. Ailments and downside often give no warning when they strike. Those who keep moving and make no attempt to settle, they reduce the risk. The afflictions come in multiple varieties. In the bogs of the flagging hands, a powder tends to sink into the skin and then into the mind. The nauseating sea of solace north of there is difficult for some to tolerate. Very hot, very cold environs bring their rare unspecific side effects. My coat is not as lustrous now. My fangs are long. All aspects of the downside All these elements share a purpose to test your body, mind, and spirit. They only appear to harm. Accept them, surpass them, move on. I sound wise as fuck. Lord Gandalf, a warrior of surpassing strength, that Galathian single-handedly slew the serpentine Gandalf, which devoured the downside prairie verdant plains, which envenomed the prairie's verdant plains. Right words. Master General Galanthian, he was underrated by Lord Gandalf's myriad attacks. His lashing tail, its hurled rocks in the shape of swords, and thrice as sharp his eyes reduced brave folk to mewing babes. But Galanthian stood tall and brandished his tower shield, sent Lord Gandalf's fury back into his monstrous countenance. Now Lord Gandalf takes the shape of a stone ridge, conspicuous, and now, as well as you may know the full, unguarded truth about his fearsome path and Galanthian's glory. I just kept wanting to say Ganondorf. Unfathomed Plurnish. I still don't know how to pronounce it. In all this one's conquest, never has the Underking confronted such a foe as the Sea Titan Plurnis. That grand and hideous wench presented nigh inestimable peril to whoever sailed the downside seas. Tales of her monastery long spread across the world. The Underking was undeterred. Nay, this one made his life's mission to give her recompense. Emboldened, having felled her cousin Andriga, he drew her out of hiding and sailed the remains of Dazraban, the doomed ship, with its sharpest prow, straight through her heart. They just ran a freaking sharp-ass ship through the thing. Kinda dope. The catastrophic detonation which ensued left no surviving witness save one. The Underking survives to speak of it, and write of it, which he shall do repeatedly. Time Singer Horn. The tempest ravaging the downside are the handiwork of the Time Singer Horn, known as Sky Titan. The furious elements, they are his troubled dreams, manifested in this troubled land. We sought to cure him of his ailments, for his unrelenting and unpleasant dreams had long become our treacherous reality. One night we drew him towards the Rite of Flame, a stratagem of Suleimer's design. There he was stricken by the stars and dazed and overcome by eternal shining glory. Sky Titan thus found the sky. The tempest which remained, they are all but lasting traces of his waking dream. One more. Schlock, Astroborn. The foul name of the Star Titan is written here but once. Do not invoke it, lest you aid its reawakening. It sups upon despair, fear, and doubt, and lands such as our own. 'Twas our mighty mistress Melitha, which tracked the astral-born monstrosity within its loathsome pit, where it lay nursing wounds sustained from traveling across the stars in search of simple prey. The wicked astral-born could drive lesser creatures to brink of sanity with a mere passing glance. But not Melitha. She cast upon the fiend 100 words of binding, each one more binding than the last. A creature's incandescent skin, we bound this book, and bound ourselves unto the stars. This thing is just legit eldritch horror. Freaking elder god. Looks that way to me. Ooh, a bubble. Something appears different about the Sacred Mountain west of here. The lands near Emperor's Ascent and Emperor's Fall appear ashen. On the other hand, the once precarious regions below, which you know as Temple High Road and Temple Christian, are swept by the elements.
Se contrae.
Izo can gain favor. He wouldn't really need it though. Gilman can gain favor. Yes. Oh, it's about time. I was wondering when this would happen.
Maritio compra? Nemraj ligaratus. Sorerita derarcus. Credios da scettimo. Harum tanoje.
Oh, she finally said something, but she's still just like, nah, don't talk to me.
Harum tanoje.
I think this is the last person we have to even train.
Spetalo meloste.
Nimsarotistera.
Rama faroshen.
Namorente.
Stramitas. Pansareta talushe.
What? I have no idea how I'm supposed to even approach this. I don't have a means of directly attacking, because I can't just summon that inside their aura, it'll die. And none of them seem to want to cast at me, so that's a big issue. My shield can't reflect. That seems to be an alright strategy. Cast it right outside their aura and then touch it and make it grow. This Wilford gets pretty big points. By the hair on my sphinx.
Narete predaje.
Jeta mo tempri. Mon protraje paloje.
Serio cubraret.
Lose bow? Bow? Volfred's Blankberry transformed further than usual. That's useful. No, definitely not using Volfred for scoring in a serious game. That's a bit much to ask. Getting them big points. Doing what up?
Moderatus. Ufara tempuriliat. Nam nadisputanto. His vale. Serupaga militium.
Oh yeah, further boost. You love to see it. Mentor or mentor? Let me get someone a level real quick.
Similia majucreniat.
Epic. Let's go. We're gonna win. Doing this.
Escutil noxalas. Nakirara.
Salutium, Ceres.
Kem dirastas?
Felamta, Ceres.
Ben kramta. Torgasan gratas.
Som de ravatas.
Estara tantus.
Recosta fara.
Seems like he wanted to stay, but the way you phrase it made it sound like he wanted to go with us. Reverse psychology.
Rukey fries.
Why not?
De magna si som puela.
What the hell is this? Shooting star. The bear can banish adversaries by flinging the orb into them. That's cool. Typhoon bottle. While the bear is stronger than average adversaries, it slows and cannot use abilities. Like Wolfred's thing. Oh, super expensive.
Velotion ties.
Oxare juntas. Nasenta veniam.
Yeah, I'm pretty horrified of the ocean and boats, and, you know, getting asthma has made it pretty impossible to swim. So I'm even more afraid of it now than ever before. Definitely not gonna go for the ocean. All for freedom! Nah. Yeah, I fight for my own freedom. Otherwise, I don't give a shit about anyone else. I'm a bystander in a lot of situations. Terrible as that is. Just chill somewhere, be a farmer. Guess these are one and the same, aren't they? Okay, so here's the thing. I really enjoy farming games like Harvest Moon, Rune Factory, Stardew Valley, you know the type. So, I feel like I'm getting the romanticized version of what farm life is like. But it doesn't mean that it hasn't ever occurred to me that I might go fucking try it out. My dad has a garden, but our yard isn't really hospitable for plants.
Vista la tave.
Right, we ain't fucking around.
stars that yet remain aflame align once more over the sacred fall of Solium. 'Twas here that the 8 scribes ordained the glorious tradition in which you now participate. The glorious tradition which you and that instigator Volfred seek to undermine. 'Tis my sincerest hope your adversaries in this liberation rite achieve instead what they desire. May the chastity soon douse those flames of yours. Let us get on with the proceedings then.
Volunta lorigas.
Volunta lorigas.
Regeta noxalas.
Tabarusze.
Idicaritas.
Sole custis. Marumpage.
Noxalas.
Terom teligeratus.
Varese prama.
Felantas eres.
Whom do you endeavor to return?
Okay, for... Oh, with Rukey again? His ability to jump over auras is going to be super useful here. So, we're giving him another shot at this.
Who shall be at his side? Sir Gilman.
Aura blasts are good for breaking through auras, and I need someone with a big thing. I think Wolfred's probably good for this.
Volfred. With that out of the way, commence.
What was that? Oh, you son of a bitch! Damn. Damn. I wanted to swap the Gilman, but it went to Rukey. Then to Gilman, but I don't know, I think that half second would have made all the difference. Son of a... really need to start body bumping people. It's just so hard to judge where they even are once they're in the air.
And there it is. The chastity proved their worth. As for the night wings, they most
I thought I was at least gonna get another dunk. I knew it was gonna be close, but
thus ends the liberation rite. And thus the scribes have chosen. The exile appointed by the chastity shall be free. Absolved of all misdeeds. Return to glory in the Commonwealth. His adversary and all others shall remain to carry out their rightful sentences.
I'm sorry, Rukey.
Te pravis. Semivolute. Hashem.
Godspeed, manly tender stuff.
Good luck, Cocuine.
Perhaps the scribes are watching even now. Watching as their glorious tradition draws to a close.
I feel like I'm not using a bolt for Audacity. Should maybe I should just stop using them because of that. Not being able to
Now take your execrable
play
companions.
aggressively is kind of a big deal.
Caldiere prepare. Raneretare. Simdare turis.
Gonna be one right this time? Yeah. Alright. Our probability of success is still going up despite us doing nothing. I wonder if all I had to do was get one win. It seems like getting two is gonna basically guarantee it. But I'm curious to know how this will even work out. Track record against them. I want my revenge here. We're done with Titan Stars, by the way. This is getting pretty embarrassing. I beat a match with them all on. You saw it. I had none to prove.
Accepto.
Playing hide and seek? It sounds like this might be the last cycle, I don't know. Either way, it behooved me to finish this book up. Zilvius horse-headed. Without warning from the cinders and the seething rock that gushed forth from the sea and the soil at the foot of the Black Basin rose the mare titan Zilvius. She broke the land beneath her burning hooves, whinnying vengeance upon those who thwarted dullness. We divided them, blinded by the smoke and heat and thunder. But for the grace of Mother Tethys, all have been lost. With unswerving concentration did Saint Tristia then invoke the old enchantments inscribed upon the holy scepter which she bore, and the land bursts into the starlight, reading Zilvius in twain. Her wishes now strikes fear into the hearts for her kind, not ours. On history, this book can accompany you if you were learning your freedom to remain here for your successors, who are bound together inextricably with us. There is no sorcery, however, to prohibit you from spreading forth its teachings. We charge you to go forth and share what you have learned along your path. Reveal not the rites themselves, nor the existence of this book. Transcend its bounded limitations, for it cannot be transcribed. Any such attempts shall fail. Beware of those who dare to read it on the other side. Under their guise of seeking wisdom, they yet lurk a much darker desire to undo that which we strive to do. The Tattered Mantle. Well known in this treachery of the rogue collar who conspired against Emperor Saw and set in motion the Empire's collapse. The knave did journey to the downside after us, our paths they never crossed, though we did meet his end. He wore the tattered mantle, wrought by the first Empress, and worn in every generation hence. The living mantle whispered wisdom in its wearer's ear. But in the downside it carried cried out instead in protest. When the rope collar retreated to his worried isle far at the sea, the mantle gained new life, conjuring with the native imps. The imp titan was born and grasped then the rope collar in his fist in last embrace. Though it's a mind-controlling scarf or cape. It's like a Stephen King monster. He'd even say it maybe what gave the rope collar his bad ideas. Shack. 6 shoulders. Much can be learned of the bravery of the tale of how the swallow, the imp who alone felled the muscular and altogether terrifying bone titan called Shack's 6 shoulders. 6 shoulders sat listless. His appalling frame refused to be budged. None dared approach the withered fiend, whose plague had spread half across the valley floor. Undeterred, Haub sprang into action. Whilst we but watched the little one, he flew into the gaping maw of Shax and lodged himself inside the monster's throat. Shax began to cough and cough and cough until the valley shook. 6 shoulders breathed his last, fell. His putrid breath had fizzled and was gone. Yet our friend Imp remained. My god. You're just like, choke on this, motherfucker. He jumped in his throat. That took some fucking balls. I think I already read this page. Borax trees, you'll love to see it.
Se previsere.
I wonder if that's the face he made when he was gasping for air.
Staże teramainas. Iri kaže tem. profumo. Exio traje. MC tare damitas.
Bertrude. Oh, I thought I was picking a way to go. And then... Page revealed the Cairn of Home. Guess I haven't done it right here in a while. Oh, we got a new bone, bro. Xylobones! Yeah, the controls don't seem to be very welcoming to making actual music with this. In the last update for Terraria, they added a guitar that drops during rainstorms. I've seen a lot of people doing really cool stuff with it. Cairn of Hope. How ironic that the shattered remains of the Bone Titan Shack's 6 shoulders, which once stood vigilant over the archways with flag in hands, now remains as foreboding as when the horrified monsters still possessed unnatural life. After Little Hope dispatched the Bone Titan in a feat of ingenuity, Shack's pieces fell into the valley floor, forming a set of standing stones, which Hope marked. Maybe pissed on them? Further traces of the Titan's glacial blood coagulated into perfect frozen drops, which still shimmer in the darkness. Chick's shoulders seems to start reanimating. Reanimating, or it's reanimating. When the stars above them dance in a certain way, faint the sigil then in the shining light.
Fly. Mama, sanctifies.
Salute! Yeah, we're keeping those off.
Reader, it seems the stars once more have mustered wherewithal to usher in the rites. The sky grows dimmer by the day. An age is ending. Surely you must know by now that you shall never all be free. Yet still you struggle to fulfill some senseless plan. But I digress, of course. Some of us still honor the tradition. Some of us hold dear the teachings of the scribes.
All those sparkles we see in the air are actually his blood. And I guess all these weird shaped stones are his bones.
Salurem Taros.
I know you mean that. I guess she interpreted I don't know as a maybe. Very wishful thinking.
Go on, then.
But then again, if he doesn't have the rights, then what even is his life? Might as well have a friend.
Bertrude.
Nay.
Nay.
Trastia?
And... Gil.
Sir Gilman. If that is all, then.
Aremta, father.
Now begin.
Oh. That's a quick cast he's got. Oh!
Pathetic.
Pathetic indeed. My god, I just let that happen.
Us all at times. Zap. Verily.
So we get that money.
Perhaps you are worthy.
Now I see. Opinions of us change when he sees how good we are at ball.
All of the Nightwings banished. Dalbert flung the orb into the flame. This is the road to ruin.
You should like push these into a barrier. They can really block off part of the map, you know? Ah shit. Ah shit.
Dalbert dispatched with ease.
Oh!
Alma doused his adversary's flame. The
That's a big dunk.
Dove into the flame.
That's a big dunk.
Your adversary's pyre now falls short of yours.
That's a... Oh! I was on a roll. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Wait, they don't know where the ball is, do they?
The orb is loose. Tough luck, Nightwings.
Half a lack, loser. Oh.
Wanna throw it in? This is the road to ruin. Oh, Dalbert's son went poof.
Whoa! I missed, I whiffed it. Damn! Oh no!
Be gone, you
Talk
lump.
about greed, am I right? No! Oh, this is a fucking bloodbath right now.
Batched.
No! Thought that was match point. Whoa!
An unimpressive thrust, but true.
I don't know how that happened, but we got it.
And it is done.
That's how it's done, baby.
The Nightwings prevail. They hardly deserved it, though, if you ask me.
Hey, I earned that.
The Rite
Almost got my ass kicked with no Titan stars. I earned it.
The Rites do tend to teach something of trust. Apparently, the exiled Bertrude is committed to the path.
Alright, what have we got? While Burr shoots Pyre is less than the adversary's Pyre, her adversaries deal less damage. Yeah, that's great.
Now, take your sordid business someplace else.
Remis cavas.
Really? It looks like I beat the crap out of them, though. Wow, how'd they get the right to fight me?
Sera temperus. Ma condare sa. Sensora talia.
Gracias. Pyre halashiase? Yeri na taliosan pa?
How many vegan points does she get for waiting until she's on the brink of death to eat something? Curious to know. Whoa! Hit us like a fucking lightning bolt. Why are you sneaking off to, you son bitch? I'm gonna buy a gun. Wolford will gain favor. Now we've had enough of him for a while. Or Gilman will gain favor. Now we've had enough of him for a... Okay, because harps can fly, I don't think Wolford's gonna be super useful, which means I'm gonna take this, but I might not use Gilman either.
Sio Tanta. Tempratave.
Rukey, you're going to win this, damn it. After banish, Rukey has a chance to return in only 1 second. Rukey deals an additional 5 damage from plunging into the Pyre, yes. Oh! He tells us time we got a manly tender snuff and the conniving head of chastity secured safe passage come up after besting in Liberation Rite. Having returned home and earned a lavish welcome, he was all too eager to accept a seat among the Justice of Peace, where he already presides over other suspected criminals' trials. It is said that questioning his questionable judgment is a quick way to ensure a guilty verdict. As for Chastity, Manly withheld vital information from his group, such that they were ill-equipped to carry forward. We shall not be seeing them again. Looks like he was covering his tracks. And Wolfred shake his head.
Escutin Noxalas.
Salutiam, Seras.
You just said this would be the final meeting? Does that mean this is the end? Does that mean that our match is about to get intercepted?
Simnaterus. Varana Cramptus. Lorigasum Gratas. Kivaret.
Samea.
Retira Tempta.
Fenanta Seres. Acertava.
The plains that sleep below, to the canyons open wide, hear the song of gentle morning for the lost on the hill and in the valley, where the weeping flowers hide from the song of gentle morning for the lost and lonesome bride. Now he roams through hill and valley, and the canyons open wide, singing songs of gentle morning for his lost and lonesome bride, for his lost and lonesome bride.
Handful won't tell him mais.
You couldn't tell that song was the words he had for her. Sounds like they finally get to be together because the rites are ending.
Praetere Ligeratus. Sirim Darava.
I think there's another one, but this could be the last.
Arestralevas. Sumta verias.
Reader, I would ask that you think back for just a moment, if you please. When you first looked upon the Book of Rites, think back upon the words that it revealed. Oblige the voice that tells you more. Oblige the voice that tells you more. Would that the scribes were here among us still. I would not sing your praises to them, rest assured. I trust that you shall savor this occasion. You shan't have to oblige me for much longer.
Volunta lorigas.
Volunta lorigas.
Regeta noxalas.
Nessemedia resortion.
I guess letting her go wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing. We're trying to bring down the Commonwealth, and while she's gonna slaughter people, it will technically help us, right?
Sentir alostium.
Terem zapte daret.
In fact, I wonder how she even got exiled if she's not a proper citizen. Did she just get captured? Maybe.
Rictus tafin.
Triage franda. Libralia te vare.
Noxalas.
Pensate lorigas.
Ulta covarantas.
Whom shall you attempt to send home this time?
Rukey, it's your time. I promise.
Who shall stand with him?
Panther always does good against them. I've been having good luck with Gertrude.
Gertrude. Very well. Commence.
Son of a... We're alive, though. Live with it. Itch. Can't let that happen. Son of a... This Bertrand's giving us some defense against this. There we go, that's the move I don't use ever. Okay, now. What? cheating. That makes them perfect targets for that.
Indeed. That flames grow weak.
Huh.
The Nightwing's edge closer to victory. Banishment for all.
Son of a whore. You should have just dumped it. That might have been a win.
Wake you up. You seem unable to stop these people. Tis what the scribes order.
I am foaming at the mouth here.
Amatha be gone. And there it is, at last. The essence proved their worth.
It's done.
It could have been you, Nightwings, but alas.
That was actually a pretty close match.
And thus, the scribes have chosen the exile appointed.
Come on, their aggressive stance is actually cheating because we all have to start at our pyre.
Of all misdeeds, return to glory.
Dishonor a brew.
Her adversary and all others shall remain to carry out their rightful sentences.
I'm sorry, Rukey, okay? I fucking swear to God you were gonna win this last Rite. It's the last thing I do.
Si vederci acaba.
I wonder if his will is gonna be broken if he loses too many.
Rękarza Brutis. Sosham Daret. Senhare Ravendrat.
Godspeed.
Motherland!
The cycle of the rites is nearly at an end.
Does it happen right away, or is there in between Rite? Because I kind of have to pee.
Dramiga. Parasta legaramis. Miricare, Amita. Shemporidas.
Mostra temere. Si vitergi tranza.
Okay, and in between. Okay, well, Parker's whole deal is like already dealt with. I feel like we only have something to gain story-wise from one of these two. And you know, I want to see this beautiful friendship blossom. So I guess we're going with this.
Cresceronta. Ah. Te cliparevas.
Alright, I have to freaking piss. Be back, and we're gonna win. Alright, P time over. Now it's W time. Bitch. I thought they only appeared in the one area. Maybe there's some kind of weird collectible for an achievement. Or maybe because they're imps, they will increase the move speed of the ship by some minuscule amount. That'd be neat. Alfred. Forgotten parcel. Probably just something to sell, yeah. Big money. Big million. Foraged findings. There is a simple pleasure to be found in foraging about this place. Easy for Curtis, of course. Though barren looking to the naked eye, the downside has its share of semi-hidden treasures waiting to be found. There was a nose for treasure after all, which drew us here. Certain types of artifacts found in this place would fetch a reasonable sum of soul, whether because they shine with inner light or due to other special properties. I observed that stardust, freshly fallen from the heavens, sometimes glimmers in the afternoons. I have not found a use for it as of yet, although, because it brings me faith, perhaps I have indeed. On legacy. Reader, that you shall always bear a burden. It is much lighter than the burden of a lonesome exile. Go forth and become free. Then join with others such as you and lead with mercy, continuing to demonstrate your worth and knowing that the Empire's fall form the foundation of our Commonwealth. You shall cease to be a reader and will become a voice both to the free and to your successors here, who shall take up this book when you no longer need it. The cycle of Rite shall see to it that you and others like you shall be liberated for the coming of another age. May the stars shine ever brightly on us all. So is this like when the coach retires and becomes an announcer on ESPN? Oh, that fat pile of coke. Star coke. What's the one I wanted? This one? I feel like someone has a healing thing equipped, so I should... Say make a sacrifice.
Ah, te solumtave. Ta semte kalas.
Is Elmer being a jerk and not saluting us?
Reader, the Commonwealth, your home. Today it is aflame. Much like a stack of books. Aflame because of you.
I didn't do anything, alright? I won one right.
Not that you care. Not that you shall live to see this place again. Your attempts at revolution shan't succeed.
They're just really pushing for me to get a good ending.
As for myself, I shall enjoy presiding over these remaining rites.
Monteroshe.
Barosta. Costa Fara.
Who shall it be this time?
They're really not gonna show up? This is weird. Oh, I guess I'm gonna pick an alright team regardless, but I don't know if anyone's going to show up.
May.
Shiru-sama?
Some people to max level, yeah.
Joe Dariel. Predictably decided. Lo, even your adversaries have abandoned you.
You don't have a pyre for me to douse.
And it is done. The Nightwings prevail by default.
That was weird.
Not that their adversaries even care.
Flame Quencher. Prevail and Rite in no more than 3 dousings. How did I not get that one before? I don't understand.
Boundless are the teachings of the scribes.
If that was a valid outcome for that achievement to pop, then how did I not get that in my first playthrough?
May misfortune find you ere the turning of the stars.
We know that our opponents are the true Nightwings for the end one. I don't know how everyone else found out, but I guess they decide that there's no point in participating, because they don't get to fight in the Liberation Rite. None of them feel the spirit of the sport.
Nakiplasantis.
Strale saletas. Pratere legeratus. Serrature.
%60, guys. You've won one guy. You know, on second thought, what they did to us was extremely cruel, because as the Nightwings, we had to show up to this rite regardless. So, we had to go across the whole freaking downside to come here for nothing. A treacherous journey.
Foolish reader. Your so-called friends. You are accomplice to their hateful plot. They are exploiting you. You shall never have your freedom.
Tristatage.
Go for it.
When the stars align, the rites shall come to bear. Illuminate the signs, the exiles shall be there. All are not the same, but three shall be as one. Freedom in the flame, the end has just begun. Strength may break our own, but twisted make upgrade. Together on their own, the journey shall be made. The journey shall be made.
Nay.
Nomin virum. Forum cacciare. Obligre Sira.
She invent the magic marker?
Tale vas clarum. Te lacrimare.
Alright, who's getting these fat points? Someone is actually going to get a level out of it, I suppose. Could be Gilman. Could be May. We're going to use May.
Kia Santa Audi Maria. Amaina Rasium?
Oh yeah, that's OP. May's just a freaking speed demon. And she gets that orb, over. Oh! Of course, about Tamitha, Stoke Leader Assange, yeah. And yet some odd amenities remain despite common tradition, or because of them. Tamitha found herself held up in many rounds of questioning, each less informal than the last. All concerning the movements of her sisters and the Highland remnants. Refusing to cooperate, Tamitha demands safe passage to her native lands, yet remained detained. So racism kept her from even getting her proper treatment or whatever. She isn't being revered. It's like, oh, it's a harp, question her. She holds their own blood sister must have adored her once more. Oh. Meanwhile, the Essence are refusing to conduct the rites with any other race and have not found a suitable replacement. You suspect you shall face them in the rites again. Finish your Simon's message, taking his chance of the reaction. I'm worse than dead to her by now. Oh.
Escutin Oxalas. Simnaderus.
Salutiam, Seras.
Omvisacare.
Taruntadage.
Petaranilum. Fransage Lostium.
Similia Majucraniat.
Merame Sabreval.
He believes that his ancestors are watching over the Nightwings and seeks to live up to their legacy.
Ilum da fare.
Sumbra danifarum.
Sema brevedusta.
Sintoriome casti?
Temprale di Natare.
Gratan Octolorica. Lisasaivaros.
Va.
Rictus Tafinem.
Ha. Remis cavas.
Under Crystal seeks me. The hell was that supposed to mean?
Recipraste ligaratus. Reciptas rare. Mira Zeratruja. Paratruje prastes. Orirenta. Nemraje ligaratus. Savulshire facien.
Right, I think we just romanced the Beyonder girl. Is this... no. No, it's not.
Say, Force. Vidata Calamayos, Tomoshe. Nom di Sintawashe. De Semtefois.
5%! Holy... The real Steam sale we've got here. Why would anybody ever buy this? It's too much. 20 is the next level. I'm gonna buy this and put it on something.
Go Semtetais.
Slug markets. There are natives in this land which some capacity for thought, an oddly keen instinct for the mercantile, suspicious creatures, but not disagreeable entirely. From time to time, we make exchange with them. They lust for coins, for imperial soul, though why they do not say. We speculate it is a delicacy. It serves us little purpose here, while the slug market wares are sometimes valuable. Creatures appear drawn to places where the heavens shine the brightest. Perhaps they know we are as well. What they want exactly is unclear. We taught them of our lands, yet they remain preoccupied with simpler things. Who's got something to upgrade? Wow, I guess I overspent when I bought that. Oh well. I can buy a 3 thing and a 5 thing. Whatever money I have left.
Keep the televoice.
Oh, cool. So I only need a 3 then. I realize I could be applying it from in the slug market, but I'm an idiot, you see.
Negaratus. Yara Mitage. Ha.
Aresta ligaramis.
Ligaratus.
Deliosta.
Magnolia.
Varoncistralesna.
Ligararum.
He's the ones you know. He has utmost faith in you.
Ceramiscus.
Rukey, it's your time. I suppose it would be justice for our opponent to prevail here. But Rukey, he deserves it more than him, even.
Upon the fall of
How many times has he lost his chance?
Hear me for one last time. For soon the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days in that forsaken land where you deserve to be. The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. Your adversaries who regained their freedom thanks to you shall help us see to it. But first, let us get on with this last liberation rite. You face none other than yourselves, each so unlike the glorious Nightwings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free, for you deserve each other.
OcelotDolphinCrab.
How are these men? OcelotDolphinCrab. Barcos.
Flame looks so cool.
Pyre, Ligaratus.
Noxalas.
One final opportunity for salvation. Too bad for the rest of you.
Why is Jodariel out now? Is that like a character thing? She would rather stay than prevent anyone else from getting out? Whatever, we know Rukey deserves this. He's a good boy.
Who shall be at his
Okay, and we're going with Bertrude. And, I think a demon, an imp, and a fast boy. May.
Pistale Octalorigas.
It is done.
Savensale farem. Parasta mugetirios.
Nisasevaros.
L'alzare.
That mean Auric can read.
Una bretavis.
Penelovale.
Begin. The final chance at liberation for the age.
Why is he not getting hit? My thing goes through walls. That definitely hit him several times. Fuck. Hoping to get just a little stamina back before I went for the final charge. Whoa! 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 Past that, cunt. Oh yeah, I forgot infinite. Fuck. Oh, he's got the meteor equipped. Probably should have threw that. His stamina. Oh! Oh! That Bertrand defense, though. Ooh, son of a fuck. No, I was just mashing the jump button.
Banished all of them. A true aimed thrust into the fire. How he has changed, that warlick.
I was so worried that I accidentally dived into the fire. Whoa. What are you doing? Stop.
Good.
No. Bertrand dunk should end it.
So it is.
And Meteor saved the day.
The rite has nearly ended.
Damn it. Oh.
Your exiles all are banished, I'm afraid.
Oh.
Sputters.
How many men?
Oh no, no! Damn it! Thought he was worth more. Hey, son of a. Oh.
And then
Yeah!
the
We won a second one.
Nightwings proved their worth. An outcome which left little room for doubt.
We won the Super Bowl, baby.
Thus ends
Going to
the
Disney
Liberation
World.
Rite. And thus,
Old Park reserved to ourselves for a day, the only way it could possibly be enjoyable.
and thus the scribes have chosen. And thus the scribes have chosen. And thus the scribes have chosen.
Does Rukey not give us freedom anyways?
Nightwings. Reader. What have you done?
I'm heartbroken. Rukey. I'm so sad. Ah, shit.
수시는 머리 갔다.
Seems even if he won, he wouldn't have gotten his freedom, which would have been super fucked up.
Suda Salamen. Nalibra Centus.
Sanim. Sofitete.
Sakunaritas.
Nimsare.
Shimdaje Temta.
Nim.
Augustardi?
Rukey, I want you to take this for yourself, please.
Dare, irate ligeratus.
Salibrare exactus.
Ut tempra dantas. Ligeratus.
Okay, well, Rukey did forfeit it, so he's out of the question. Ulrich technically deserves it, but he's also my enemy. And I would feel like a huge piece of shit if I just left everyone like this. I did intend for Rukey to be here, but again, he made his choice, so I guess Ulrich.
Vanta recognare.
Non tradisserum.
Va pensare.
Thing is, now we've got two demons running around the Commonwealth. What are people gonna think?
Godspeed, Oralek. By the scribes, no stars remain aloft. The cycle of the rites. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
So if the stars are out, does that mean that the Titans are gonna resurrect? So, sequel game is in the question, rather than prequel game for a JRPG concept that we pitched a bazillion times. Untenable, yet his agents and his supervisor occasional things. Does that mean we won? It did not get far. The rulers of the Commonwealth has their agitators rounded up to be exiled at the break of dawn. It was then that the Highwing remnant seized their chance. Somehow they flew across the blood border without raising a alarm. They showed the leaders of the Commonwealth no mercy. By dawn's first light, the Commonwealth had fallen. It wasn't reformed, but it was destroyed. The new Saurian Union declared sovereignty and fear among the changes its elected leaders ushered in. They vowed never to cast their people into exile, and they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. Today we shall remember all. And remember, the exiles of downsides led to the dawning of rage, whether they returned or not. But it sounds like Tamitha's return's the only one that mattered, because Wolford's plan failed. I believe we can look at, like, their end cards here.
Consulta videos.
Ulrich Ulrich last returned to his nation, he had not seen in nearly 2 decades. Scarce recognized it. After all, it was an immense transformation, a social-cultural upheaval sparked by Wilfred Sandalwood's plan. When Ulrich witnessed the Commonwealth lashing out citizens aimed at Sandalwood uprising, he looked in silence for a long time. Then he took a step forward toward the fray. He knelt beside the closest injured man to him, staunched the man's bleeding, and set an injured leg, then pulled to the safer corner of the street. Ulrich's old abilities as a magician had not left him during all his years. Then the dialing remnants trooped in, adding more to the chaos situation. Casualties mounted quickly, so Ulrich remained calm. This felt no different to him than the days as field medic on the blood border. He sustained no injuries that night and saved more than 24 lives. History would know him as the Demon Doctor, a term of endearment that struck even after his horns started to recede. He lent skill and service throughout the birth of the Saurian Union. The one he called the Shadow of the False Nightwing somehow, and thought of often, he owed freedom to him. I witnessed the aftermath of Sandalwood's plan. Ulrich understood at last what his former companion wanted. Years ago, they conceived a version of this plan. Now, Ulrich found he wished Sandalwood could be present to witness the reality of it. Alone with his thoughts, Ulrich would sometimes visit the memorial of fallen leaders of the Commonwealth. Though other than such appearances, and notwithstanding his duties, master physician of the state, Ulrich led a very private life. You would have guessed that he was one of the most accomplished rites conductors in history of the Nightwings. History, of course, shall ensure we shall not forget. At return to the Commonwealth, the Ignarius experienced little trouble integrating back into society. For one thing, no one there had seen demons such as he, something he knew. He used to draw a crowd at the public house he founded. He did not survive the fall of the Commonwealth, but his former establishment, the Starry Eight, did. He was welcomed back and soon put in charge. He never remained alone for very long and took on many lovers in his time. However, he sometimes thought about the one he had called Curly Horns and what became of her. Though his glory as the most powerful conductor has been rights that long since past, he always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he had cultivated at the time.
Most spectacular!
The return to the Commonwealth, mainly Tindersnout, soon earned his place among the county's veiled leaders. However, it did not lead to the extravagance which he imagined. The Commonwealth was in the midst of dealing with insurrections spurred by Sandalwood's agents and loyalists. Few in numbers they were. Tindersnout saw it as an opportunity to get ahead. So outnumbered were these insurgents that he believed there could be real danger. He was mistaken. During the clash, they saw the Highland remnants began. The harp struck down the Commonwealth leadership before he knew what was happening. Tindersnout was missing after the attack. His wealthy family feared the worst and mounted an extensive search. He was finally found shaking and injured, but alive, cowering beneath a stairwell. After the fall of the Commonwealth, he struggled to hold on to his fleeting social status and restored once again the kinds of bribery attempts he did not got him exiled long ago. He was caught again and put on trial again, though this time the punishment was not exile, but community service. Tindersnout used his family riches to fight back against the sentence and soon was destitute. He can still be seen cleaning the streets and parks at the center of the Saurian Union. There he's more willing to give his side of the story to whoever asks. Or is an earshot. Just yelling about his life now. Nation formed in 839 AS. After Solium, I assume. After Christ, after Solium. after the fall of the Commonwealth. Bullshit. As soon as possible, Tamitha Thane turned back her liberty. She rejoined the Sisters of the Highwing Remnants and mountains of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth believed that someone such as she could rehabilitate through years spent in exile. Instead, her hatred for ancient enemies only intensified. On the night of Sandalwood Uprising, the Highwing Remnants were poised to strike the Commonwealth in a decisive blow. They had received credible intelligence about the expected positions of the Commonwealth leadership and a specific weakness in the blood-border defenses anticipated that night. After a surgical procedure, Tamitha could fly again, almost as well as prior to her exile. She insisted on spearheading the attack, a squadron of the Harp's finest. They descended on their foes exactly as planned. Even the blood border was uncontested. The skirmishing in the streets of the Commonwealth that night made for the perfect diversion. Tamitha and her sisters fought with terrible fury. Caught unawares, the forces of the Commonwealth were devastated, while the Highwing remnants suffered minimal losses. By dawn, the leaders of the Commonwealth had been eliminated, and Tamitha was flying back towards the mountains. Some of her sisters claimed that she was smiling then. Soon after the fall of the Commonwealth, Tamitha attended a debriefing in which she learned her blood sister Tamitha was an accessory to the successful outcome. Honey. Tamitha was very skeptical of this, but so many of the Highwing remnants honored Tamitha that Tamitha soon accepted the prevailing opinion, though grudgingly at first. A messenger imp later arrived bearing some sort of message, seemingly from Tamitha. However, Tamitha turned it away. He forever resisted the impulse to forgive. After the rise of Saurian Union, Tamitha Theron continued to serve as flight tactician and remained respected and feared even among her kind. However, without a war to wage, she grew more distant than usual. The closest to her surmised that her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was at the heart of this. Though for her part, Tamitha never once admitted to any such weaknesses. And some of these are long and some of these are short. Barker Ashballs never had such interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found his bylaws to be stiffening. Though for the run the Rites had ended, he did not care at first. He soon grew very bored. The Rites had given him life in a certain sense of structure that he always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the Rites for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His packmates' dissidents proved more than happy to participate, and thus they ran against each other back in Yomer Valley. Gradually, the other exiles familiar with the Rites, as well as those who had not heard of it at all, started taking interest. They ended up giving Barker Ashball some healthy competition. In time, he forgot all about his old feud with Thomas' family. For his part, Greentail stayed well clear of him. Ultimately, even Barker Ashballs, who had led a directionless existence at that point, found something calling him to the Rites. Where he took the Rites less seriously than other exiles this time, or more, was oft debated by those who watched him at work. So he turned it into an actual entertainment sport. People on the downside. After her liberation, the Witchwood Milba fled to a native home of Southern Balts, rejecting all festivities and honors that he could have received. She was never seen again during the events she inspired in and around the Commonwealth. Some of those with knowledge of the Rites and legends of downside suggest she willingly cast herself into exile to be closer to Slock. Other rumors suggest that her obsession with pyromancy, another dark ultimate consumer. She lives for her kind, or if she lives for her kind are able to live for many centuries, then there is no telling where. Her repeated threats to the version of the return of Slock were thoroughly investigated, yet no credence is found of any of her claims. All his life, Sir Gillish had fled from one danger only to find himself facing another. He escaped the war-torn waters of the Sea Dominion. He escaped the blood war of the Commonwealth, and now he escaped the Rites. After the Rites had ended, many exiles wrapped up in ancient tests were crestfallen, as their last chances to return to their homes vanished along with the stars above. But Deluge did not mind, for the outcome meant that he at last, there was no burden of responsibility weighing down on him. Having heard that Sir Gilman also had remained behind, Deluge made a point of avoiding him at all costs. Nonetheless, they ran into each other once riding a cold current sea of solace. The meeting was terse and cordial. Deluge ended up apologizing profusely for mistreating his fellow Worm Knight, and that was the end of it. While most of his fellow exiles and pirates yet longed for the waters of Sea Dominion, driven as ever by their impulses toward conflict, Deluge settled down. With him returned one of his companions, one Lady Seagrass, who had taken a liking to him for some reason. Reportedly, they disappeared in the waters of Worm Gulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase in worm population observed in the vicinity. Oh, this horn dog. The cycle of Rite drew closed, and it grew evident the chances of freedom from the downside had forever slipped from Dalbert and Alma Oldhard's grasp. Thus, they and the exiles' fate returned to the Yomer Valley, where they struggled to get by as exiles' downside tend to. Sometimes after the Rites had ended, the Oldhards had at last heard news the Commonwealth had fallen. This was well after the fact, of course, but it brought old Dalbert great joy. Despite his forthright manner, he had always loved the nation that cast him down along with his son. He had no love for the, I'm getting a little winded. So much reading. Our Oldhard passed. Oh, fuck. I hit a button. In his final days, he implored his son to undertake a pilgrimage to the scribes. Almer never shared his father's view of the scribes, but respected Dalbert's wishes, and so after a period of mourning, Almer began his new journey. One day during his travels, he ran almost headlong into another exile after paying homage at the spring of Yomer. He was stunned to find that this was no other than the one known as May. From 3 days after his rites, May was overjoyed to see him, though Almer was unable to bring himself to understand why. Eventually, of course, he did, and they remained together, growing ever more accustomed to their new lives and downside. Not a day went by that Almer Oldhard did not think of his father and give thanks to him and speak to him that morning and that night. Would that the stars yet shone, for suddenly Dalbert would be there among them, smiling down at his son and watching over him and his kin. Having regained his freedom, Lendl assumed his duties as the constable of the peace, where he soon had his hands full dealing with the growing tumult of the Commonwealth. In the night of the Sandalwood Uprising, he was among the first constables who volunteered to deal with the insurgency forcibly. Under his direction, Wolfrid's agents were quickly overwhelmed and placed under arrest. That was when the Highland remnants descended from above the towns set against the leader of the Commonwealth. Wendell sprang to the defense of his leadership. He struck down 6 harps that night before he succumbed to his wounds. He is remembered as Lendl the Liar, thus called the Annals of Downside, and named all who were exiled and who were returned. It's my breath. Edwin, the only one of us who actually returned. After his liberation, Edwin was instrumental in events leading up to the fall of the Commonwealth and was vital for the outcome of the plan. Yeah, he's the only one who helped. He was the one who led the raid on the stronghold. Rochester's Androbles IX was pulled up when fighting grew fierce. With this, he then and thereafter was one of the winged harps of the Highland remnants, later identified as Thakani Shank. Yeah, that'd explain why the Highwing remnants helped as well. Their bond was vital to the peace that followed. In times of difficulty, he would often ask himself what his old friend Druidario would have done in his place. Though they were separated by a great distance now, they thought of one another often and maintained friendship through relatively free corresponding via messenger. And Edwin would often think back about the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Although he cherished all the friendships he made, he pledged that Druidario, Rukey, Greendale, and the Reader of Nightwing, they all might be free again together. Probably would have created a unique outcome if I actually got all of us out. They had broken that vow, for in the end, not all of them were able to return. A terrible guilt over his darkened his mood for a time. However, the others, who we still knew lifted his spirits, much like he said often lifted theirs. All the Nightwings knew their stakes. All the others who stood with the Nightwings were not able to return into contact thus. Edwin thought of each of them often, and so and thus, in turn, did not often think of him. That's right, Edmund Tizo had a job to do. Quite unlike most exile scrap forever and downside, the lone minstrel asked that he watch over the Black Wagon, which Nightwings used extensively for travel and for shelter throughout their quest. Tizo obliged and moved the wagon, as well as drive inhabitants, perhaps better than anyone. Oh boy, Yuzi. What became of the wagon exactly was never verified, as evidence of Tizo's thorough work. After that, he liked to while away his days with many of his friends who were imps. He would visit his friend May at every opportunity. She was among the few who could constantly interpret what he meant, and they were always close since they first met. Sandalwood sometimes called for his assistance, and Tizo was always happy to oblige. Two of them would often reminisce about their times as one minstrel. He often chirped about the Reader and the Nightwings, with whom he built quite a rapport. The Reader understood him perhaps better than anyone. Indeed, Tizo would often express wistful gratitude for all his time with the Nightwing and their many adventures throughout the land that was always his home. Other than that, Tizo would sometimes help interpret for messenger imps, relaying to and from the Saurian Union. Despite him gaining celebrity abroad, he never let it go to his head. And he would go fishing in the Sea of Solace every single chance he got. After Cycle Rice ceased turning, the records of what happened to Black Wagon and Nightwings became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest the exiles Nightwings who remained in the downside continued to make use of the Black Wagon as a place of shelter in their means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as the Book of Rites or the Beyonder Crystal, said to be haunted by the apparition of Sandra the Unseen. One possibility is that I just realized that her makeup's blood. The possibility is that the lone minstrel took his leave. He took the Beyonder Crystal with him, for he was thus obliged. By this line of reasoning, however, the Black Wagon itself should have been taken also. Others remain skeptical that the Beyonder Crystal ever existed, or rather that its visions that it granted were anything other than the result of active imagination or fever dream. The bog dwellers of southern bogs offer still another explanation for the familiar with finding enchantment. If there existed such an object, in which the Sisters of the Ark had been expelled for 1,800 years, then the enchantment could have expired along with the light of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra and the Beyonders is difficult to say for certain, other than it meant they were finally released. Nevertheless, the fates of Sandra and the Beyond Crystal remain unknown. If those exiles of the Nightwings who claim to have seen the apparition all spoke of her with degrees of reverence, or perhaps a little fear.
Visitera Rumsia? Nera Zaratrujan. Vare Tarakusta. Ortrare. Egriata Ligaratus.
Worm Knight Sil Gilman had elected to go into exile as penance for his failure to uphold his military obligations to the Commonwealth. To him, earning back his freedom was tantamount to erasing the shame of his past. His honor was at stake, more so than anything. Kept insisting he didn't want it. Yet when it became clear to him that he would not go free again through the rites, he readily accepted the outcome, for he knew by then that much worse was on the line. He regretted not having had a chance to contribute directly to the events transpired in the Commonwealth, though he was pleased to hear the outcome. The conclusion of the rites and the fall of the Commonwealth made clear to him that his days as a knight had ended. Oh, fuck. Guy's asthma sucks. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary set of circumstances. Again, require him to fight, but he certainly hoped not. Still, he trained regularly just in case. Especially with fleet-footed friend Rukey Dreamtail. From time to time, he would seek guidance from his former comrades, Big Bertrude, much his elder, as well as spring of perspective on his life decisions. He was always grateful for the counsel of the Raider, and would regale him over and over about the time they squashed the spawn of unfathomed learns. He wasted no time dwelling on his days under the leadership of Sir Delusion's former commander. The other Worm Knights stayed well clear of him. Gilman never did return to his homeland of the Sea Dominion, and was content to lead a monastic life on the small residence in the hills. It was just high up enough to make him keep striving to conquer his fear of heights. Other than that, an intense daily training regimen and the occasional visit from a old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that honor was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself to be renewed each day.
Concealta vidias.
As it dawned on Rukey Greentail that the rites truly ended, and that he would never again return to the Commonwealth, he took it rather well, all things considered. If anything, he felt a burden lifted from him, as that the need for constant travel and a deadline was no longer ever present. Even still, he had a family to support back on the other side, and struggled to find means of helping them despite the great expanses that stood between them. As it turned out, his quest for freedom helped build strong connections with some future business partners, and the birth of the Orion Union opened up new doors, even where he was. Before long, he had a real business going, creating a partnership with Falcon Run and the Bog Dwellers, Big Bertrude. It was not the exact life or luxury he'd always dreamed about, but he managed to get by, and his family's debts were all repaid. One of his orders of business was to seek out one of his old companions, Pam the Baron, to whom he took a liking during their quest for freedom. I know it. They bonded further over love of drink and supported one another to certain times only in the store. So Kevin touch with Gilman, ever the perfect practice partner. They would train together often, taking care to stay in tip-top shape as much as possible throughout the years. Greentail always did his best to keep in touch with all his many friends. They owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of saying that close with a group of friends came well during the times of Nightwings wherever they were. They shared some special understanding, but Greentail lost her words sometimes. Okay, so this just occurred to me, but so Rukey sends money to his family via messenger app, meaning people who can fly can technically get stuff out of the downside. So why don't the hiring remnants become a rescue force and get all these exiles out? Or even more, since exile has been illegalized, why don't they build an elevator to get out? Or a hot air balloon or something.
Concealed Avidias?
Long after rites had ended, May admitted that she knew well before the fact that she would not be going home again. At least she had a very strong feeling. She didn't really have a home, did she? She ended up not minding very much because she had little to return to in the Commonwealth, hence her sense of home had changed. What I just said. She took to wander from celestial landmark to next, ever paying homage to the 8 scribes, who she believed had influenced all that transpired. She was no stranger to traveling alone, but was always happy to have company. Among her friends, she always remained close with Tiso. More so than anyone, could always make her laugh. She cited a relationship with Jodario as the single most important thing in her life. Jodario would always provide for her circumspect perspective as well as wisdom of experience. Whenever she felt genuine doubt, which was not very often, she sought out the reader of the Nightwings. If there was anyone whom she trusted as much as the scribes, it was him. One day she encountered one of her former adversaries, one called Ulmer Oldart, who had served the fate. She remembered him much more than he did her, though only just at first. Their shared experience in rights and their differing points of view about the scribes formed the basis for what grew to be a long-lasting relationship. Mayo was always devoted to her faith, but more so to her friends. Her gentle manner and unwavering conviction often helped them brave his life and downside, both to courage and grace. Does Ulmer have daddy issues? And he stuck around with her because she reminds him of her dad, who revered the scribes way too much. I cannot breathe. I have to use medicine after this.
Concealed Avidias.
After the rites had ceased, Jodario journeyed back to Downside Prairie, where he helped restore all route to livable conditions. She became well known and sometimes feared throughout the land. Many exiles often sought her out for aid in various matters. She refused most such jobs except for ones she believed to be just. Became a cop. Although she often thought of Edwin. Though they remained separated by impossible expanse, they managed to maintain some correspondence via messenger imp and always remained friends. She kept an eye on May, who's nonetheless demonstrated surprising knack to get by on her own. Jodario was always willing to provide assistance just in case. She continued training on her own. A regimen that grew stricter with each passing year. Oh god, I'm gassy. It was set to train with her, and she's sometimes abroad. She remained on other constant in her life. She would always remember days among Nightwings, and with fondness for the most part.
Concealed Avidias.
Miss bowl cut. After the rites ended, Theron parted ways with other Nightwings. stating that she needed to be alone. She returned sometime after the fall of Commonwealth, almost as she expressed mild surprise at the news. She claimed to have knowledge of what went on, including what role the Highland remnants had in events and who gave the world on the other side. For her part, Pamitha feigned little interest, making the point that they were struck and what happened else had little to do with them now. Someone with whom she kept in contact was the bog dweller called Big Bertrude, which would discuss all sorts of matters long into the night and sometimes hunt together too. Sometime later, Pamitha had unexpected run-ins with Rukey Greentail, with whom she had spent a fair amount of time while traveling with the Nightwing. For these new set of circumstances, turned out the two had more to talk about, or rather more in common. It would often put to test which one was able to outdrink the other. It is unclear as to which one of them prevailed in the contest in the end. Pamitha never saw her blood sister again. Though dear to hear of her, for some accounts Pamitha played no small part in his story last days of the Commonwealth. In turn, Pamitha must have heard something of blood sister, however, she never responded to Pamitha's tense contractor. Pamitha did not expect forgiveness from her at any point. Nonetheless, she keeps trying to reach out, she said. Ruffle up her feathers just a bit. Having long since felt as though no home to call her own, Pamitha continued traveling around the downside. As the tempest swept across the land, changing its features, she found sublime beauty, and starless nights she could see just fine. Said such travels sent a reminder of when she was younger and could fly unfettered. We're almost done. Several exiles Nightwing, Caramore plans Sandalwood and returned home to the downside. A crone called Big Bertrude was a prime example. She found a suitable environment to live, which dismal region of thriving hands. There she had built a thriving place of business, known many exiles in the lands. The rites having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away almost as though nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps then even monumental events such as the culmination of the rites or the collapse of the Commonwealth seem a trifling matter. Much of her effort was doubtless due to the influence of Sandalwood, someone whom she had admired for now 2 decades. He had made clear that he could not requite her feelings for him, but what could have been a hurtful dismissal led only to deeper understanding between them. She maintained an unlikely kinship with the Heart Pamitha Theron, who had known during their time together with Nightwing. They each had different strategies for dealing with life's day-to-day annoyances, a subject that they both found vital, if not fascinating, to no end. By and large, Bertrude kept focused on her work, whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans. The work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such assurances were strictly forbidden, but in the downside, there were a real need for simple luxuries, with the competing slug market would not always provide. Thus did Big Bertrude continue to live up to her name, and the tales of the days with Nightwing made her that much more of a living legend. The Rite drawn to a close, slug market's revenues fell precipitously, and Falcon Ron was forced to liquidate his assets and close up shop. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those of entrepreneurial leaning, this time of hardship led to epiphany, or at least a sudden change of fortune. One day, Falcon Ron had a run-in with Messenger Imp bearing news from the other side, and Ron gave it to his remaining trinkets, which could not be sold. The following eve, the Messenger Imp returned to him bearing tidy sum of wealth and newly minted coinage from the Saurian Union. Falcon Ron cut a long-term deal with the Messenger Imp, and then there. Though his trade remained a gray area from a legal standpoint in the Saurian Union, the newfound fame on the downside caused Falcon Ron's goods to explode in popularity. He later signed an elaborate agreement both with Rukey Greentail, whose own business had expanded, as well as the Birchews, from a sizable trade on the Lamarant. Their goods are still well known for superior quality, though Falcon 1 assumes no liability for any side effects. Well, it sounds like they're forming some semblance of an economy in the downside. They're also establishing some hub spots people can actually live in. That's a good thing, right? Felt very generous people to just give money to the thing because he brought a bunch of cool stuff with him. When the cycle of Rite ceased turning, Wilfred Sandalwood turned towards the starless sky and closed his eyes and prayed. It was all that he could do, and at that stage of his plan, he aspired to assemble with liberated exiles and representing each of the 8 largest ethnic groups combined population of the Commonwealth. They would stand together. Vision of the 8 scribes returned, inspiring masses to embrace an older set of values from before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. With the Rites ending sooner than expected, this ideal scenario became impossible. Sandalwood's own freedom, for instance, was now forfeit. Yet the plan did have contingencies. Word reached him that the night of what became known as Sandalwood Uprising, his agents and sympathizers stormed the streets. It was vital to Sandalwood that his standing against the Commonwealth be peaceful in its nature, but this proved to be untenable, especially after the Highwing Remnants appeared. There was speculation or a well-timed assault may not have happened by coincidence, though Sandalwood denied involvement and deeply regretted the bloodshed. He disappeared for a time after that, in self-imposed exile within his exile, he felt such ashamed about this outcome. Nevertheless, the main trust in the plan had been achieved. Sandalwood kept busy after that as much as possible, providing counsel as far as those who would not be forfeit for the birth of the Saurian Union. Of course, being stranded at the downside meant there was only so much he could do. Resting assured that the future of the nation was in capable hands, he turned his attention to the remaining exiles of the downside. They might never return to that new nation, but at least they could experience its triumphs and its struggles in some vicarious way. So he took his old to work, writing and printing. As literacy began to spread throughout the Saurian Union, so too did exiles of the downside take to it. For his part, Sandalwood helped to teach many as he could. More than that, he provided a material to read semi-annual report about the latest events, both in Saurian Union and downside. This periodical gave many exiles something to look forward to. One of his allies in all this was the Tizo, with whom he traveled across the downside. Sandalwood often cited Tizo as the wellspring for his enthusiasm for the brighter future, such was the creature's spirit. He welcomed the company of the reader of the Nightwings at every opportunity and counted him as a trusted friend and a keen editor. He often pleased to hear that the one-time friend, Ulrich, had once more become a productive part of his society, yet he spoke little of their time together. As Wilfred Sandalwood gained more fame throughout the land for all his sacrifices and his contributions, it is said that he remained steadfast about 2 things. First was that the cause itself ought to remain in focus. The freedom the people had achieved, it was a gift to be cherished, a set of values that need to be nurtured. Second part is that he himself had a little to do with the outcome. He would often praise the exiles and Nightwings who stood with them, each in turn by name. He never forgot any of them. One day, to commemorate his birthday, people of Saurian Union unveiled a monument depicting him and the Nightwings, as imagined in their prime. While Sandalwood did not learn of it until much later, it is said he was moved to tears then by the gesture. It has since ensured that those with The memories of Fallible and Sandalwood likewise remembered the Gemas fell former exiles and their gods. Christ, I'm exhausted. So it sounds like it got the neutral ending, I guess. Like, Commonwealth is free, but it was a violent uprising. So, you know, not necessarily a bad ending. After the cycle of rites, he turned one minstrel, bade the remaining Nightwings pick the Black Wagon and seek their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. The parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Holydale with Celeste, where two of them would chronicle their final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tark nor Celeste were ever seen again. We all know this now. Their song, she soon claimed songs were in her travels starting union, nearly wore impute the way of folklore. However, exiles liberated from the downside corroborate each other's claims that admit their still presided over the liberation rites. Another folktale suggests that the minstrels were heralds of the tribes. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and rejoined their patrons. One of their famous songs describes another simpler outcome. The two they gave to the duties, the rights, favor of life they could share together. In any case, they're likely to remain subject to such verses and such songs, for it was they who watched over rights and ushered in our times. There's one more account which, with the warrants mentioned, the Nightwings conducted the rites under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of them. However, some accounts began to paint a bigger picture. We know he was of common birth, weak framed, though raised in penchant for learning. The journey of the downside downside left him close to death. It was then the Nightwings found him. They brought him for the brink, showed him a bath. Passed on with the others. He made a vow to help his friends be free and did cycle of rites commence the final turns. When the final rite arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. In the end, however, he reclaimed exile. From that point on, accounts of him diverge. It is said the voice which troubled him he never heard again. Some say he chose to tend to Downside's land, though whether that's true, only he knows. Someday perhaps the reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce the dark of night in brilliant glory. Until then, and even after, all of us give thanks. The voice is gone because the Archjustice died. They told us about that during the uprising thing.
Their journey began on a barren waste where the reader arrived, afraid and alone. When he arrived, the book of rights awakened the Nightwings and ignited the flame. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in our brain till the end. We sing of the last of the Nightwings who, having broken the cycle, shall live on in song. Headwind prevailed and strode the path that his heart laid before him. He has found his way home.
untouched girl feels the scribes in the heart of the downside. She remained to the end. Tease all the wise, ever faithful to the cause of the night wings. He remained to the end. Sir Gilman the Bold, duty bound to honor the night wings. He remained to the end. Heaven for Thane, born on guilt.
All of them remain to the end.
Never seeking forgiveness. She remained to the end. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Bound together, spirits tether, strands unbroken, spines awoken. The great mastermind, Wolfred Sandalwood, saw his plans turn to action. He remained till the end. The bog dweller Bertrude kept their foes at bay with her finest enchantments. She remained till the end. The reader at last made the night wings whole, having bound them together. He remained till the end. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Now at the end, as we bid farewell and return to the stars, we shall find our way home. We shall find our way home. We shall find our way home.
Yay, books, they exist again. Mentorship sucks. Oh, we unlocked impossible mode. Maybe I'll go back for that one day. Hopefully my save data stays this time. Alright, so I stayed quiet because I wanted to be able to take that in, but I didn't notice that song was, like, dynamic, or procedural, or however we want to call it. It wasn't one song. It was split up based on what happened in the game, so that means that they either recorded like a bajillion different takes of that song, or it's split up into several different parts, in which case, it's amazing that it flows together so smoothly. Either way, it's a miracle that such a thing even happened. So, like, good on them. Also, I just noticed this little man over here is us. I always thought it was like a monument or something. No, that's us kneeling. No, right, this ran just a little bit long, but we did finish. I didn't finish any games in the past week, so I don't have anything to talk about there. I was considering talking about one that I'm like halfway through, and by halfway through I mean I've played 30 hours of it. Because it's coming to consoles in like 2 days. So I wanted to like give it a shout out. Not that anyone necessarily would listen. But you see, I am pretty freaking exhausted, and I kinda need my medicine, and I'm super sweaty because I'm having trouble breathing. So for my own health, I'm cutting it here. I hopefully be back within the week. For next game, I am thinking either Jade Empire or a Pathian. I have fond memories of both, so it'll be nice. Right. I wish I could have said more, but I am dying here, so I will see you guys whenever. Take care, everyone.